Right, so Heavy Metal is live once again in Destiny 2. You're probably wondering, how does the loot work inside of this event? Well, we're going to get onto that. Of course, there is an event track. That's pretty basic. You play Heavy Metal and you get points to level you up, which allows you to pick up the rewards from the event track. Much like what we've seen with other event home events, there's the component with the shop where you can spend some of the event tokens to pick up tier 4 weapons, dependent on your Guardian rank. So I think the maximum reward that you can earn in terms of tier will actually be displayed here. Something you do not want to do is launch the Heavy Metal game mode from the tower. So of course this appears on the tower map, but if you do that, it actually appears to load up the original version of Heavy Metal, which basically means it isn't updated with any of the portal's rewards. And in there, you'll basically only be able to get things like better devils or other old irrelevant loot, even blue drops. If you really want some of those, then I guess you can load it up from the tower, but you probably don't. So be sure to boot up the Heavy Metal mode from the portal. Bungie have said they're investigating an issue where Heavy Metal from the tower node drops blue gear and old legendary gear. Until we can disable the node, we recommend launching the activity from the portal. And it's a good recommendation, of course. It wouldn't be a Destiny event without a series of mishaps, would it? Now, in terms of rewards, you can get a bunch of weapon drops as post-match rewards. So tiers aside, it is possible to get plenty of weapon drops, and realistically, you'll probably get the weapon rolls that you want. Well, we'll go over the weapon rolls in just a moment specifically, but in terms of whether this event got the Solstice treatment, where it occasionally drops higher tier rewards than your actual tier should be, I would assume for the moment that it is not the case. Now, as you can see right here, I am Guardian rank 9 and 412 power, I think it is. I haven't had a single tier 5 weapon drop during the event so far. Because this is a PvP mode, performance affects your reward. So if you lose the game and die a ton of times, then you're probably going to get lower tier rewards. That happened to me when I was getting tier 2 or 3 drops. On average though, I'm getting tier 4 drops, which includes on match wins and games where I don't get absolutely destroyed back to back. When I look at all of the drops that I currently see on social media, we have tier 5 shotgun right here, that's 450 power. We have another tier 5, that's a sword, and another tier 5 sword, all of them at 450 power. Now, when I look at a bunch of tier 4 drops, this is the first 3 tier 4 and 5 drops that I could actually find posted. All of the tier 4s are below 450 power, so I think the strong indication is that you basically have to be at 450 power to get tier 5s, which is pretty much how the rest of the game works at the moment, especially in relation to the Crucible. So to answer the question, did Bungie do the Solstice treatment for Heavy Metal? The answer is no. If you are not 450 power, you will not get common drops of tier 5s. It may be possible to get a very occasional rare drop of a tier 5, but I've seen no indication of that being the case so far. So there you go, that's how the rewards basically work for Heavy Metal. Oh yeah, and there's that quest as well that Shax gives you to sort of introduce you to the Heavy Metal event. When you complete the very easy quest steps, which I should admit they are incredibly basic, it's just play the game mode, pick something up from the event track and then return to Shax. That will reward you an enhancement prism. Don't spend it all at once though. Hold on to it, really think about where you're going to put it, because it could be your last. Okay, I'm being a bit sarcastic now, but yes, there are going to be plenty of memes about how Heavy Metal is not rewarding on this basis, between getting blue drops, better devils from the tower map version of the game mode, tier 5s being reserved for 450 power only, and yes, the enhancement prism. Safe to say, given that I think most players probably aren't massive fans of Heavy Metal, just based on opinions that I see in the community, I think there will be a lot of disappointment at the fact that we don't get a sort of gear tier +1 component with this event. So I've seen players speculate, could this mean that Solstice and things like Festival, the bigger annual events, will get treatment that allows them to drop gear at +1 reward tier potentially, and maybe these other more regular events like Heavy Metal, Arms Week, Iron Banner when it comes back are going to be much more tied to actual power level in the more traditional way that the progression systems are working at the moment. Maybe that's going to be how it works, but even if you aren't at max power level, if you want some good tier 4 weapons, safe to say you can get plenty of drops from post-match rewards. So there we go guys, that's the breakdown. If you want to know all of the weapon rolls for these, I'll run a clip from my recent video right here at the end, just so that you don't have to go anywhere else if you do want to catch them. But otherwise, give me your impressions on Heavy Metal down below, and I will catch you guys very soon. There is the Sinancia, which is the sword. I'm probably saying that name wrong still, but this is a wave sword frame with solar damage. So heavy attack deploys a shockwave uppercut and launches the user into the air, and an immediate follow-up swing after the uppercut deploys a homing strike that aggressively seeks the target. The first trait column can get proximity power, relentless strikes, attrition orbs, then there's Assassin's Blade, Sharp Harvest, and Wellspring, with the second slot able to get surrounded, Burning Ambition, which is going to be interesting, as well as Binary Orbit, Elemental Onin, Eager Edge, and Chain Reaction. So it's the first Eager Edge sword, I think, which is actually new in this content drop. And it's quite an interesting weapon overall. First slot options like proximity power will be nice if you've got a melee heavy build, or relentless strikes for sword ammo, sharp harvest for special ammo, plus attrition orbs is nice to have as well. Then in the second slot, if you want eager edge, you pretty much do have to select that over any of the damage bonuses. I'm personally not an efficient eager edger, that's what she said, but obviously it's a good perk, and it will work with basically anything that you might get in slot 1, so eager edgers out there, let me know what kind of combos you'd be looking for. Otherwise, of course, surrounded is an easy damage increase of 35% as long as at least 3 enemies are nearby. That pairs up especially well with relentless strikes or attrition orbs, but basically also any of the first slot perks. I'm really interested to try Burning Ambition as well. Being able to stack Scorch on targets, it could also pair up pretty nicely with Attrition Orbs, working on sustained damage with the Scorch element, so that could be a legit combo. Then we have Binary Orbit or Elemental Onin for damage buffs. Binary Orbit will let stasis or strand kills grant the weapon 25% damage boost for 8 seconds. Elemental Onin will go up to 35% damage buff for 20 seconds, but it does have a fair amount more of setup in terms of making kills with other elements, so playstyle and build will determine which of these suit you more. On the most part, the easiest increase will be surrounded as long as you've got enemies nearby and are not going for sort of single target DPS. So surrounded will probably suit most players, especially if you're using this for champions or tanky targets. But finally, chain reaction is nice to have as well. It will work pretty well with most of the slot 1 perks. But for me personally, I'm going to look for relentless strikes, attrition orbs or proximity power, probably pairing up with surrounded because I like the ease of use. And I probably won't personally use this for single target DPS. I also really want to try Burning Ambition to see how it works on swords as well. And this weapon could pair pretty nicely, keep in mind, with things like Quarterized Darkness from the artifact, depending on your build, as stasis or strand debuffed non-boss combatants take increased solar damage from all sources, so just something else to keep in mind. Let us know down below what you'll be going after on the sword. But the other weapon that will be available is the Trashiness. I can't do these weapon names, man. But this is a rapid-fire slug, so fast-firing slug rounds with deeper ammo reserves. This also has stasis damage, so a different kind of archetype. And the first trade slot can get Lead from Gold, Rhyme Stealer, Proximity Power, Rapid Hit, Killing Wind, and Transcendent Moment, with the second slot able to roll Headstone, Precision Instrument, Chill Clip, Swashbuckler, Binary Orbit, and Encore. So in terms of interesting combos, Rhyme Stealer and Headstone or Chill Clip obviously is pretty strong, and having high stacks of Frost Armor on any subclass in close range combat is a pretty easy win, right? But I also think Proximity Power paired up with Swashbuckler is going to be really strong. And when final targets are nearby, Final Blows will grant a bonus melee stat, so even Proximity and Chill Clip will be pretty nice for slowing enemies, then getting melee kills. You could run light subclass melees with Proximity Power, and then pair it with Binary Orbit as well for a pretty easy 25% damage boost. But if it turns out that this handles nicely for repeatedly hitting targets, then even Rapid Hit paired with Precision Instrument or Binary Orbit could be pretty good. Although those are 25% damage boosts with a bit of setup, while Swashbuckler will stack up to 33% if you're running a melee focus build, so kind of depends how you want to use the weapon. With it being a new archetype, it will depend on how the thing performs and how ammo feels in that archetype as well, but I feel like this certainly has a lot of potential, so let me know in the comment section what you'd be interested in using. I should also mention origin traits for these. They both get Tenacity, the season origin trait, and when targets are nearby, Final Blows grant weapon damage, reload speed, and handling until the wielder's death. And the sword also gets Hake Breach armaments. Then the shotgun has Viced Stinger, where damaging an enemy with the weapon has a small chance to reload the magazine and increase movement speed while aiming down sights. So I feel like on the shotgun at least, most players will want to use Viced Stinger.